Hello everyone, welcome to episode 67 of the Stardom Cast. I am your host, Matt Turner. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. It's a beautiful, beautiful day out here. Well, every day is a beautiful day. I hope this podcast is finding you in a good spot. If you're having a little rough day out there, hopefully we'll put you in a good mood. We got a lot to talk about on this wonderful day. A lot of news, a lot of exciting notes. But before we get into the rigmarole of everything going on here, I just want to wish my big brother, happy birthday today. As we record, it's his birthday, his 42nd birthday. But by all the fancy stuff that came out today, all the Stardom news today, you'd think it was my birthday. I mean, let's just jump right into it. Stardom announced their top 3 title matches for their pay-per-view coming July 9th. Start right on the main event. I mean, it's the match that I think most Stardom fans want to see the most. I think it's the match that I know me, as just a fan of professional wrestling, wants to see the most, and really in any promotion, and that is Shuri defending the World of Stardom Championship against Momo Watanabe. It's a rematch from one of the best matches of last year, of the 5-star finals between Shuri and Momo, and it's obviously a more important wrinkle, because you have the richest prize in all of Stardom on the line. You have Shuri defending against Momo, and just think that was a 5-star match. Like I said, match of the year candidate last year in the finals. And now, I mean, Shuri wrestled Takumi Rohan a 20-minute draw beforehand, so you're going to have a fresh Shuri against a newly 7-month heel turn Momo Watanabe. So this is the match that I think everybody thought they were building towards. Took a little bit longer to get there, but that's okay, because Shuri's run this last 7 months has been absolutely fantastic. So I'm super, super excited about that. Like I said, you'd think it's my birthday with that match they announced. The co-main event for that show coming up in July is Saya Kamitani, who might be the only wrestler hotter than Shuri right now. She is defending the white belt, the Wonder of Stardom Championship, against Starlight Kid. Another match that's clearly these wrestlers are going to have their work cut out for them to see who's gonna outdo each other in those 2 main events. And then of course Azumi, when she's coming back from her recovery to injury, which we'll talk about in a minute here, she'll be defending the High Speed Championship against Momo Kogo. Obviously, this is a show that I will preview in depth a little bit more going on. But before we get to that pay-per-view, there's a pay-per-view coming up right here at the end of the month. The pay-per-view that will be on the 27th of June, and that is headlined by the 2 cage matches. The main event being the Stars team of Miyu, Koguma, and Hazuki. They will be going up against the Queen's Quest team of Utami, Saya Kamitani, and Azumi. We just mentioned them before, so a lot of big matches for the Queen's Quest team. And then the co-main event, we have Natsupoi against Tam Nakano, and that's in this cage match as well. And kind of a little bit of a head-scratcher, as Stardom announced about 2 weeks ago that they would be doing a cage match, but they didn't announce the match. So a lot of the fans were thinking that you'd probably have maybe the Julia Prominence blow off here in the cage, or maybe one of the Momo Utami matches that they've been building towards that we never really got. Or maybe if they were going to do a faction match in the cage, you figured maybe we would get Oedo Tai versus Queen's Quest. But not really. So it's kind of not sure why they're putting these 2 cage... I mean, they're going to be great, especially that main event. I mean, it's going to be like, who's going to top who? Is Miyu going to top Saya? Is Saya going to top Miyu? At the same time, you don't know what Kogan was going to do, or Hazuki. I think they're going to do some crazy stuff as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen there. And Tam and Natsupoi, that should be a barn burner as well. They're kind of slowly building towards this match as well, what they've been kind of teasing some things like in the ring, if Tam was going to retire, if Natsupoi is going to retire. I hope either of them retire, because they're both absolutely fantastic in the ring. So that's actually going to be the co-main event. So the first ever cage match in Stardom will be Tam Nakano and Natsupoi. So that should be exciting to see as well. But one of the matches on the undercard that I'm really, really looking forward to, I think is going to actually steal the show, is Mina Shirakawa of Cosmic Angels going up against Donald Del Mundo's Himika. I mean, Himika's just been on quite a big tear. She just came off that record-tying Artist of Stardom reign with Natsupoi and Maika. And Mina Shirakawa has been a wrestler over the last 8-10 weeks, that's really, really improved. It seemed like she kind of hit her ceiling a little bit against that match at the end of towards last year with Tam. I think she got injured a little bit. I don't think maybe she fully recovered. She might have rushed her recovery back a little bit. She kind of was just, I wouldn't say hit or miss, but kind of almost like plateaued. She was still really, really solid in the ring, but you really kind of weren't sure what they were going. And like I said, the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, she's really, really improved, especially with her stuff with Unagi. She's really improving her striking. I mean, she added that jumping ensaguri, the way she adds those forearms and throw those forearms, and how she plans them and how she paces them and her ring position and everything. I've really, really been impressed by him. So that's a show that I will preview later on next week in full. But those are kind of just want to just briefly just touch upon those 3 matches, and as well as the 3 matches coming up in the July pay-per-view. So a lot of really good stuff to look forward to for our Stardom fans. I do have to talk about something a little on the negative side here. It seems like the injury bug has been hitting a lot of the federations as of late. I mean, you saw that, CM Punk is out with an injury, Okada's taken time off, and the injury bug did not miss Stardom at all by any means. Tekla is out, looks like with a shoulder injury. When I covered it on the last show, I think it actually happened in that match with the Zumi at Flashing Champions. She seemed like that she might have done something to her shoulder there. They report that Natsupoi is going to be out up until past the 6/19 show, the June 19th show, with an injury, and Izumi as well is injured as well, and she's going to be out for the next couple shows. And I think it's smart that if somebody has an injury, they're hurt, they're not 100% or 70% or 80%, that they should take a couple shows off. I grew up in the 1980s era of wrestling, where you would always see these wrestlers always banged up, constantly on the road, whether they're working hurt or injured, afraid of losing their spot. So I think nowadays, we're a little more health conscious. I think the promoters and bookers understand that in the long run, that this is something they need to do. They need to pull them off the road or pull them off the shows. Maybe if you bought a ticket to go see Izumi on one of these shows and she's not going to be there, maybe it's something where they can have her, signing autographs. Where it's like, hey, you paid a ticket to see me wrestle. Unfortunately, I can't wrestle. I'm hurt. I'm not cleared by the doctor. In the long run, this is the best for me. But maybe she signs autographs for free or at a half price or discounted price. She can make the trip as well. So at least this way, you're going to get a solid show from the stacked Stardom roster, and you'll be able to see her. So maybe that's something that they're going to do. But I don't know. Obviously, the biggest news coming out of the past few weeks is Stardom and New Japan announced that they will be doing a joint show in November. A 15,000-seat arena that was built just for the Tokyo Olympics 2 years ago, but because of the pandemic, the Olympics got moved to 2021, which was last year. So this is going to be something surely exciting, because we've seen Stardom represented on some of these dome shows before, but it's only been one match. Where this is going to be a split show, and Miyu on the press conference pretty much told Tanahashi and all the big brass at New Japan, like, hey, we're coming. You better bring your A game. Because we're coming. I think this is smart on both parts. New Japan has been around 60 years. They've been on a roll for a long time. Really since 2012, they really got their footing back. With Tanahashi just being, the best wrestler in the world by a mile. And then you had the emergence of Okada, and then that completely solid undercard. So, from 2012 up until the pandemic, I would say, in my opinion, New Japan has been the best wrestling company in the world. And they hit a little snap during the pandemic. In 2020, they couldn't get a lot of the Gaijin wrestlers to come over, obviously, because, airports were closed, borders were closed. So that kind of put a halt towards their momentum. I think they've been also in injury bug. You see Ibushi got hurt. Wrestlers are constantly wrestling. Naito, he got hurt at last year's G1. It seems just like they've been just really cursed really bad with the injury bug. Throw on top of that, not to be nitpicky, but the booking the last year and a half really hasn't been that good. But at the same time, when the booking for 8 years has been nothing but solid, you can kind of see, well, maybe they're just trying something different. So you will see where that happens. But I think it's smart that they're hooking their card up towards Stardom. Stardom being really the hottest company in all of Japan, not all Japan, but in all of Japan. I mean, you can see their numbers are constantly growing, their YouTube subscriptions constantly growing. There's a lot of buzz, especially over here, in America, for Stardom as well. And obviously this benefits Stardom because they're going to need to hitch their wagon as well to New Japan, just because you see New Japan running these shows where they're doing 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, 11,000. So you're going to put the combined efforts of these two fantastic companies together. Again, both owned under Bushi Road, and they're going to try to fill a 15,000 seat venue. I hope it happens. I really, really hope it happens. From what I understand is they're going to be doing a few mixed tag matches. I think the one that's heavily rumored that I think that they're probably going to do is going to be Starlight Kid teaming with El Desperado to go against the team of Izumi and Hiromu Takahashi. That will be an absolutely fantastic match that I'm super excited to see. I was kind of hoping, fingers crossed, that they would do the aces of one team, which would be Miyu and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus kind of the newer aces of Okada and Utami. But Utami's kind of hinted that she wants to do something with Naito. Either or, I think that's a fantastic suggestion, and I'm really looking forward to, come early fall, they'll probably start announcing some of these matches, what they're going to do. Also, I think you're going to see New Japan have a couple really, really big singles matches there. If they're going to, try to fill 15,000 seat arena, you figure they're going to get at least 12, 13,000 in there pretty much no problem, because the restrictions are going to be 100% lifted. Hopefully, knock on wood, if you can hear that. So hopefully the restrictions are continue to be lifted, and everybody in Japan and across the world is being safe on everything that's going on with with the virus and with COVID. So, and I also think this is a really good chance for Stardom to put a couple of really big title matches here. You're going to be coming off the 5-star, which is going to be absolutely loaded. So where do you go from there? Do you do the winner of the 5-star versus the Shiri or Momo, whoever it is here, or do you do the Momo Utami match that they've been teasing, building? Do you do the Shiri Tam match that they've kind of been teasing the past couple shows here? Do you do something big with Julia? Do you do something big with Kairi? Is this where you do the Kairi Saya match that they've kind of been teasing, the past few shows as well? So a lot of options here for both companies. You put 2 or 3 mixed tag matches in, you put 2 or 3 New Japan matches in, you put 2 or 3 Stardom matches in. Especially if you put this thing up on Stardom World and you stream it live, it's a can't miss. And I think this is great on both companies, and hopefully this is one of many shows that happens there. So that's pretty much all the big news that I have going on. That Stardom, not me, that Stardom has going on. So before I get into the 2 shows that I'm going to review, I just want to say thanks to all the listeners who gave me fantastic and positive feedback from the last show I did. I really wasn't sure how. I was pretty confident it was going to go pretty well, just based on how much preparation I had going into it and just how much passion I have towards this project. When the podcast dropped, I think my man Sean Montrose, who's just been an absolute gem. You want to talk about a good brother. He's just a good guy, just an absolute good brother, just literally walking me through everything, step by step, and it helps a lot that he only lives 5 minutes away. So he was coaching me through a lot of everything that was happening and going on, and making things really, really seamless for me. So basically what had happened was, and I kind of give everybody behind the scenes view of what happened, is the podcast went up Friday morning at 12:01. I think it was by 6:30. I started getting messages on my Twitter and my Instagram about how good it was, how good the editing was, the sound quality was, and that's all Sean, and just how well everything came off. Like I said, I was a little bit nervous because I am doing a one-man show. I don't have Rob to bounce off, who obviously he's the leader of this team. And again, this is going to be a one-man show pretty much going forward, so I wasn't sure what the feedback would be. And again, I was getting just dozens and dozens of messages on my Twitter and my Instagram, Matt Turner OF, by the way, little cheap plug there, just about how well everything went, and they thoroughly enjoyed it, and really they were happy to have the podcast back. So in between me trying to answer everybody back for the podcast, I actually got a text message from Rob, and his feedback was nothing but positive, super positive, and that meant the world to me. I kind of actually welled up a little, just based on, Rob, and I know Rob's listening, and, Rob, we love you, we miss you, buddy, we hope you're doing the best, and I get messages all the time, people asking about you. One, they absolutely love the book. I sent a whole bunch of copies of your book out the last 2 weeks, and obviously tons of positive feedback there, and everybody nothing but fantastic words and positive remarks for you, which is just great about the wrestling community and the fans and friends we have at the Stardom Cast. But yeah, that meant the world to me that Rob said what he said to me, said that he's going to be supporting and listening on every episode, just based on, when we were kind of texting back and forth, and we decided, or pretty much he decided, hey, here's all the login password information, the keys to the castle are now yours. And I promised him that I would do right by him and do right by the podcast. And I figured it'd take me a couple swings at the plate, going on Sports Reference, a couple swings at the plate before I did well. But it seems like I hit a home run, and it might just be beginner's luck on this first episode. So that meant the world to me that he reached out to me. And so early in the morning here in the States, so he must have listened to it pretty soon after it dropped. So yeah, that meant a lot to me, that he went out of his way to tell me how much he loved me taking over the show. So, like I said, I promised him I'd do right by him, and hopefully that's what I'm doing. And I guess here's my ham-fisted segue here, folks. I wonder if you missed those, but I'm gotta be doing right by the Patreon members. I got a lot of questions about if the Patreon was coming back, and I did make mention last show, and I just did send a tweet out that yes, the Patreon is coming back. I will be recording Stardom X Stardom 2019 here pretty soon, and then I will be recording the 2020 World of Stardom title reign of Miyu Iwatani. Those two will probably be dropping by the end of this week. All depends on Sean's schedule, his editing schedule. Again, he's going above and beyond for me, and he's just a super good dude, and I can't thank him enough or put him over enough for how much he's helping me out. But I'm going to be recording those pretty much probably back to back, just so I can get those out, because like I said, I know that our Patreon members, you didn't have any, the white belt or red tier members didn't have any episodes the past couple weeks, just because we were on a little bit of a break. But I'm going to try to record those guerrilla style and get them out to you as soon as possible. Now, the red belt tier members, I've gotten a lot of questions, people asking what the new red belt tier members, what they're going to get. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So the red belt tier members, we are going to be doing a watch along. I'm going to pick a match, and once a week, yes, once a week we're going to be doing this. Once a week, we are going to queue up Stardom World or YouTube or whatever devices we have this on, and I will probably put it on the free feed or on Instagram and or Twitter what match we're going to watch. And I will do a little introduction. I will tell everybody when to press play, and I will be breaking down the match from the clip, if it's an opening promo or a video package, and I'll be talking about that literally from start to finish on the clip that's on Stardom World. I'll be breaking down certain aspects of the match, where they got to where, kind of giving a behind-the-scenes view on everything that's going on. I always get a lot of positive feedback about how I look at wrestling a little bit different. So I think this is going to be something really, really cool. So the first match we're going to do is let's go all in, baby. Let's go all in. Let's go in with the highest rated women's match in the history of Dave Meltzer's Wrestling Observer. We're going to be doing from last summer, the Sherry vs. Utami time limit draw / double knockout match. So that's the first match that we're going to be doing. I'm going to try to record that at the end of this week or the beginning of next week. And again, we're going to be doing those once a week. So if you're a red belt tier member and there's a match, I have a whole bunch of matches that I do want to watch. So, but if there's a match that, if you're a red belt tier member and there's a match that you want to watch, just, shoot me a line. Shoot me something over on Twitter and Instagram and or the Instagram, and something I would definitely take into consideration, because I'm going to be doing 4 or 5 of these a month. You're going to be getting the most bang for your buck. I always believe in you, for our listeners, or just anything in general. If you're spending money on me and giving me your time, you're going to get more than your money's worth. So for $3, the white belt tier members, you're going to get 2 episodes probably in the next 5 or 6 days, give or take. and then I'm probably going to try to drop another one in a week or so just to get everybody caught up. But starting next week, the Red Belt tier members, it's only a little over $1 an episode. 4 weeks out of the month, sometimes you get the 5. We'll be doing a watch-along where I'll be breaking down the matches of some of the best matches in the 11-plus year history of Stardom. Now, the only little hiccup is I am in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, so I'm kind of hoping that the internet doesn't freeze from time to time. But if it happens, hey, it happens. We're all learning together. We're all taking this trip together. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for all that's dropping. Like I said, you're going to get probably by the end of this week the 2 bonus episodes for our white belt and red belt tier members, Stardom X Stardom 2019, and the Miyu Iwatani, absolutely fantastic, her second red belt title run that ran from 2019 to 2020. And then for the red belt tier members, I'll be dropping sometime, hopefully in the next 7-8 days, watch along with Shiri versus Utami. So I hope that everybody's going to enjoy that, because I'm certainly excited about it. Okay, let's go into the 2 shows that I was able to watch and review. So show number 1, you can probably hear got this fancy new mic, got this fancy new setup. Show number 1 took place on the 4th of June. We had it started with the opening ceremony for the 5-star qualifier with Rina, Amisori, Waka, Miyu, Yamasaki, Momokogo, Ruaka, Mai Sakurai, Lady C, Hina, and Saida. So I'm sure, as you know, the top 3 points winners will move on to the absolutely loaded 5-star Grand Prix. Really nothing to see here with just everybody that just kind of just came out, did their fancy little thing, and everybody took their pictures for their Japanese magazine, and we roll on to match number 1, which is a 5-star qualifier, which saw Amisori get their first 2 points over super rookie Miyu Yamasaki. It was a fun match, really nothing wrong with it. Obviously, the easy psychology story is to tell is Miyu's going to be trying to use her speed to get away from Ami. Ami obviously starts off with these brutal chops. She uses her size advantage and experience advantage to get the early advantage over Miyu. Miyu had some really good counters, though. I mean, it made a lot of sense. Her selling was really good early on. She was selling almost like I said, it was a David versus Goliath style match. Fantastic selling. And then she had a couple quick near falls with a couple roll-ups that the crowd really bought. So that's really what you want to do. You want to show that comeback story. And again, we talk all the time on this podcast how Miyu just wrestles consistently above her years. So I thought she looked really good here, but ultimately she spelled defeat with a Blue Thunder Bomb at 7 minutes and 31 seconds. I had this one at 3.25 stars. Moving on to match number 2, Waka versus Rina. Rina picks up the win here. She gets her first 2 points, as I think everybody it's kind of rinse and repeat here with Waka with these matches. She's always losing, but always improving, and the crowd is so behind her. And I see the stuff on social media for someone who's never won a match. Not only not won a match, but when they do these multi-person matches with the Cosmic Angels versus whoever, she's the one that always eats the fall. But she always gets so close to the pinfall, and it's always so entertaining. You're almost on the edge of your seat to see is this going to be it? Is this going to be it? Is this going to be the one to get the win? This obviously wasn't. Waka, I mean, she comes out right out of the gates. Another thing I like about her. She comes in, she smiles, she does her little pose, and then she runs to the ring. She's running to the ring almost like a mini version of the Ultimate Warrior. She comes in all fired up, and it gets the crowd really intrigued, because it's just she's just growing frustration every single match that she loses, and then she just can't wait to be in the ring for the next match. So I think that they're doing an absolutely genius job building her up here. Again, they did a great job. Really good technical wrestling in the beginning. Some really close near falls for Waka she always does that, I guess you call it the Marufuji sliding pin, where it looks like she's going to give you the tiger suplex and kind of just bridges down to her back, and then it's almost like a quick roll up. That always gets it. It seems like it's every time she attempts it, it's closer and closer, and she does it at the perfect time. It's right when her opponent is really getting a good momentum on. It looks like she's going to go put her away, and she does a really good job countering it, and then making sure she's in the middle of the ring. So it's there's no rope break that can ever break it up, or even in the multi-person matches, that it's going to take somebody a real long time to get in the middle of the ring to break that up. Ultimately, Rina winds up hitting the double knees for the win. So again, it's a solid match. 3 stars on that. So that was pretty good. And move on to match number 3, Hina and Ruaka They go to a time limit draw, so they both get 1 point. I talk all the time about just how everybody just in Stardom just improves constantly. Everyone from Miyu to Miyu. I mean, you have the person that's there 11 years, the person that's had like 11 matches. But it just seems like Ruaka, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm picking on her. It just doesn't seem like she's improved at all. If anything, she might have degressed. Her offense just doesn't look good. Her timing just doesn't seem to be there. When she's in these multi-person matches, and she has a Saki, a Momo, Starlight Kid, and they kind of can position her in the right place at the right time, she shines there. But in these singles matches, especially the one that went to the time limit draw, which I thought was too long, I just really didn't care for it. I actually, as I say, I always start these matches off at 3 stars, and if you improve a little bit, you get bumped up. But if something doesn't make sense or goes too long or peels away my interest, I take away some points here, and that's what I did. I had this one at 2 and 3/4 stars. I thought just it went way too long. I thought Hina's stuff looked really good. I mean, Hina, Hannah, and Rena, those 3 sisters. I mean, they have future everything on them. Whatever championships they want to win, tag, artist, 4 or 5 years, they'll probably go for the white and red belt. I just think the 3 of them are fantastic. But I mean, Hina looked really, really good here in the beginning, but just seemed like once things really got going towards the end, it just seemed like Ruaka just wasn't really out of place. So I'm not going to bag on it too long. Again, like Kevin Smith says, if something that I don't like, I didn't like it, move on to the next one. We move on to the next one, Azumi, Koguma, and Unagi. This is a match that a lot of people were talking about. A lot of people really, really found this entertaining. I'm just going to say this one really wasn't for me. I was a little confused by the English-only speaking rules, or you couldn't do high speed. And, if I'm paying a ticket to go to this show and I see Azumi, Koguma, and Unagi are all in the same match, I'm going to want some wrestling. That's what I'm going to want. When the wrestling happened, it was solid. The high-speed stuff with Azumi and Koguma was really good. Unagi stuff with both Azumi and Koguma was really, really good. Only problem was there wasn't enough of it. Like 25% of the match was wrestling, where 75% of the match was just like, okay, you just get to it. Like these 3 really aren't known for. Well, I mean, Koga was known for the bear dance and doing comedy here and there, but this match was like all comedy, and I kind of wanted a little more action, with these 3. So I didn't rate it just out of the respect for these 3 ladies. I see a lot of people on social media that loved it. Hey, good on you. For these 3, for how fantastic are they in the ring, I just wanted a little bit more action. However, I'll end it on 2 positive notes. 1, if you're going to go to a draw, go to a triple count out. Fantastic. And 2, hey, the crowd enjoyed it. The crowd had a really good time with this match. So at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want the crowd to enjoy it, and then that'll make the promoter happy. So you got to make the big bosses happy. Okay, moving on to now a much more action-filled match. The Stars team of Momo, Kogo, and Hazuki versus Julia and Mei Sakurai. Mei and Momo, they started the match out, and they did a really good job on putting the focus on them, because obviously coming off Flashing Champions, you had a lot of heat with Julia and Hazuki, and obviously they're going to pay that off somewhere. Pulling hair, just slapping each other all throughout the crowd. So that's obviously a big match they're going to pay somewhere down the line. Maybe they do it at night 1 of the 5-star as one of the main events. I got no problem with that. So when you see this match is announced and this match is getting ready to go, you as a fan can't wait for Julia and Hazuki to get there. Obviously, you have to build there a little, so they gave us Momo, Kogo, and Mei Sakurai, and the stuff that they did was absolutely fantastic. I think Momo and Mei knew that the spotlight was not going to be on them, but was going to be on their respective tag partners. Again, for obvious reasons, Suzuki's a big star. Julia has that absolute it factor, and I think she's going to be the one that's going to be walking away as the 5-star winner. But again, another topic for another day. But they maximized their time in the ring. They really, really did. The 2 of them, they had really good chemistry. Everything flowed really well. Their timing was really good. Mei Sakurai has improved so much. I'm so impressed by everything that Momo Kogo does. She's another one that has a future champion written all over her. And I'm really excited what she does next month in that big, second from top, third from top, kind of main event style match with Azumi for the high-speed championship. So, yeah, this is really good. Obviously, once Hazuki and Julia get in the ring, you know what you're going to get. We want to give it to us. Just give us Hazuki and Julia just beating the crap out of each other, and that's what they did. And everything looked really, really good. I'm a big fan of Julia and Mei Sakurai doing, like, the Paisan elbow for you ECW fans. They do, like, the second rope double team elbow that the Tracy Smothers, R.I.P. and Little Guido used to do. So I think that's really cool how they do it. They time it really well when you have two people jumping off the top rope at the same time. Things can go a little wonky, but every time I see them doing it, it looks really, really good. I thought that was really good. The crowd was really, really into it as well. I thought that was fantastic how they got the crowd into it, and I really don't have problems with time limit draws. But you kind of had back-to-back matches. You had time limit draw, you had a triple count out, and then another time limit draw here. So the Rasi Ogawa special really on par here. But again, this one I didn't have a problem with because the match was really, really good. But I thought maybe Hazuki pins May, give her a little steam going in to her feud with Julia. I thought that might have been the way to go. Or, I mean, now they just announced that Momo Kogo is getting a high-speed title shot. So, I kind of look back at it. Maybe they should have had Momo Kogo beat Mai Sakurai. At the end of the day, not that big of a deal. I thought this match was super solid. 3 3/4 stars on this one. Okay, we move along to match number 6. The God's Eye team of the World of Stardom champion Shuri and the Cinderella 2022 champion Mirai versus the Cosmic Angels team of Tam Nakano and Mina Shirakawa. Literally my first note here is, wow, it's amazing how much Mina is improving. You have Shuri and Mirai, who are two hard hitters, two of the best strikers in all of Stardom. Tam as well. Tam's a very underrated striker. I think Tam's a fantastic striker. And Mina really showed, obviously Mina's not hitting Tam, but Mina really showed, with those forearms and Insaguri, and she stepped up there. I mean, she had some fantastic forearm exchanges with Mirai, and that's a match that obviously was the first, I believe it was in the first round of the Cinderella just a few months ago. I would love to see them run it back, a Mina versus Mirai match where maybe they get 10, 11, 12 minutes. I thought that was fantastic. Sherry's kicks, it just seems like, I don't know what she's doing, if she's just working leg day a little bit harder, doing leg day twice a week, but her kicks just seem to get crisper and louder. It just seems like the crowd knows that when she snap nares somebody over, everybody gets quiet, and it just sounds like a thud. I mean, it sounds like Mark McGuire when he's hitting like this 460 feet home runs, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, it's just like, holy jeepers. I mean, you can just see the soul out of her poor opponents just being let out with these brutal kicks. And again, Mirai gets back up on Shuri, and she has some really good strikes as well. I thought that was fantastic. Obviously, the main part of the story is a match that they're building towards with Shuri and Tam. Not sure where it's going to happen. They teased it on the last few shows that they did, and they had a really good exchange here, and they're really building towards something. Again, we know Momo is getting the championship match coming here in July. Do they squeeze the Tam match in before the 5-star, or they do a Tam versus Shuri match at the New Japan Stardom show in front of 15,000 people? Or is it kind of almost like a red herring where they might throw for a loop and have Momo win the belt, and then you could still do a Shuri versus Tam match, as well. I mean, obviously the belt means more, but a Shuri versus Tam match, not for the title, if Momo is champion, I got no problem with that. I mean, Tam has just really been on fire pretty much ever since she lost the belt. I mean, at Wrestle Queendom, she had one of the best matches of her career with Shuri, and she's just been on a roll. She's been having some really, really fantastic matches. She had the tag match with Kari, the tag match against Kari, and then with Kari, and then she had at World Climax, she had that really fantastic rematch for the Wonder Stardom Championship with Saya Kamitani. So, see where they're going there, but a lot of potential for a lot of really good stuff. Ultimately, in the end, Shuri hits the ruin on Mina. We kind of figured that would be the finish. Gets the pinfall there. I had this one at 3 3/4 stars as well. Really, really fun match. I thought that was one of the better matches of the two shows. Moving on to match number 7 of 8. We have the Stars team of Mayu Iwatani, Hana, and Saida versus the Artists of Stardom champions, representing Uedo Tai, but it was not a championship match, of Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, and Saki Kashima. As usual, how these Uedo Tai matches go, wild brawl to start the match. Once everything gets settled down, pretty much Mayu settles everything down. Her just being the ring general. The bum rush happens. They get thrown out. They do the kind of the 3-part brawl, which is fun. If you're sitting in the crowd, you're gonna get your money's worth when you have 3 different. You have 6 six of Stardom's best, brawling all over the building for a minute or two. So that's always a fun thing. And then once it gets settled in the ring, who's in there? Miyu. The Miyu stuff with Momo Watanabe was absolutely fantastic. And I hope somewhere down the line we get a Miyu versus Momo match. Because it's a different Momo. It's a different Momo. You have Momo as the heel, and even if she does beat Shuri next month at the pay-per-view, I would love to see a Miyu versus Momo championship match. I mean, we've seen them before with we actually just watched it not too long ago to go over the review for the our Patreon members. A little cheap plug there for Momo and Miyu back in 2020 at the anniversary show. So they have obviously really, really good chemistry together. So this was nice here, a little bit of tease here. Didn't get as much as I would like, or really anybody would like, but again, that's maybe just me being greedy. Then Hannon's stuff, she looked really, really good here, really solid as well. Saida, her stuff here she's fantastic, and I really hope that she gets the nod to go into the 5-star, because Saida versus Momo Watanabe or Saida versus Shuri match at the 5-star where they're getting some time, yes, please count me in. So eventually it comes down to Hannon and Starlight Kid. I thought the psychology of the finish was really good. It was really smart. You had Starlight Kid going after Hannon's leg and her knee, and then she wins with the Texas Cloverleaf, which we don't see much. We usually see Starlight Kid winning with either the moonsault, the Black Tiger Driver, or some sort of like flash pin. So she gets Hannon to submit to the Texas Cloverleaf. So I thought that was really good. I had that one at 3 3/4 stars. And now we get on to match 8, our main event. We have the former Artists of Stardom champions, Mai Himapoi, Maika Himika, and Natsupoi taking on the Queen Quest team of Lady C, Sai Kamatani, and Utami. They did a really smart job by starting this main event out with two of the faster wrestlers to kind of hook you in. Right on the beginning, you have Sai Kamatani and Natsupoi kind of tipping their hat on their earlier this year to their Wonder of Stardom championship match. Really good pace, really good. These two have really, really good chemistry together. I think there's so many wrestlers in Stardom. I just mentioned how Momo and Miyu have really good chemistry together. There's so many different opponents, so many different dance partners, if you will, in Stardom that have really good chemistry. I don't think Saya and Natsupoi, their chemistry gets talked about enough. So really good job, really good hook to kind of get you in. Queen's Quest, they show their dominance, early on to get the advantage with their double teams and triple teams. Obviously, Utami and Saya, former Goddess of Stardom champions. I'm really impressed by the improvement of Lady C. Himika and Utami, jeez, I don't know if anybody told them this was a work. They beat the daylights out of each other. I thought that was really good. And then Lady C and Micah gets in there. And I kind of like how everything pairs off. You had the fast pacing of Natsupoi and Saya. Then you have Himika and Utami coming. They're just beating the crap out of each other. And Lady C and Micah coming in the ring, and they're just basically kind of doing a little bit of kind of what just happened before, a little bit faster pace wrestling we saw with Saya and Poi, and then a little bit more of the hard-hitting, stronger style between Himika and Utami. They kind of melted the two. And they had Lady C actually got a lot on Micah, which I thought was good, making her shine up a little bit. Obviously, Micah, she's getting towards the upper tier of the main events. We just saw her the main event with Sai Kamatani not that long ago on a pay-per-view. Fantastic outing. So I thought that was good to really kind of shine Lady C up. Eventually, everything winds up breaking down between these two teams. Micah winds up hitting the big superplex on Lady C. Hits an arsenal of, and I thought this finish was great. She hit a whole bunch of lariats on Lady C. The lariat sandwich, which I love, between Mike and Himika, and then the Michinoku driver to send this one home at just a shade under 16 minutes. I had this one at 4 stars, and for me, this was the best match of the weekend. As we move on to the final show from Korakuen Hall from the 5th of June, we start out with another 5-star qualifier, which saw Miyu Yamasaki pick up a win over Momo Kogo. I thought this was really good, and I was really excited. Like once I had the Stardom World website up and running, and I saw this was the opener, I got excited about it, because Momo Kogo, again, just improving all the time, and Miyu Yamasaki does a really good job. She's just, again, improves just beyond her years. I thought this was a great 50-50 match. Right out of the box, the two of them Miyu shows aggression, coming out there, throwing that drop kick, throwing some good forearms. I think that's the two areas that the two can improve on. is that they are two of the smaller wrestlers on the roster, but I think they need to improve their strike, especially their forearms. I'm not a big fan of forearming on the chest. To me, I think it's got to go behind the neck, like kind of how, like I said, how Mina does it. Obviously, the best person to ever watch for any strike ever is Mitsuharu Misawa's forearm. So I think that's where they need to teach. Like I said, I'm not a fan of the forearms underneath the chin on the chest, but that's just me. I thought the two of them did a great job of selling, feeding for each other, being there where they needed to. Neither of them had to carry each other or had to. I mean, everything was there. I mean, you can tell where there was trust. Both of them are still very young in their careers, and I thought they put on a heck of a show. Momo Kogo's springboard dropkick, they can throw that in there where she's being topped by Hazuki, because that's one of Hazuki's patent goes-tos. I like how she adds that in pretty much every match. It just adds a really, positive wrinkle towards her offense. And it's a really good staple for her offense. Momo Kogo goes for that wrist clutch Northern Light suplex, but gets countered into the leg capture O'Connor roll. This was solid. You can see these two are going to have a lot of matches coming up in the next 3, 4, 5 years, and I can't wait for all of them. 3.25 stars. Match 2, another 5-star qualifier, saw Amy Sori pick up her second win of the tournament up against Rina. Almost kind of what happened in Amy's first match before, where she's just using her power, to overpower Rina. She's using her strikes, she's using her size to cut off the ring, she's using those chops, she's using those big moves to get their early advantage, and it almost looked like this thing was going to be a squash. Eventually Rina, perfect timing. They knew exactly when to cut off the offense and build up Rina's offense. Again, similar to Amy's match the night before, she gave up a couple near flash pinfalls, which I thought was good. It almost shows that she can. I mean, she feeds real well for them, and where it happens is in the center of the ring, and it's a good feed into another fall. So I think it's really good that when she's wrestling these wrestlers that are smaller than her and more inexperienced than her and much younger than her, that she can give up these close near falls. She can dominate early, give up these close near falls, have her opponent build up a comeback, make them look really good. Eventually, she winds up drilling poor Rina with this brutal looking, but it was safe. You can tell where she took the bump. Brutal looking brain buster. I thought this was another solid match. I had this at 3.25 stars. Match number 3, Mai Sakurai picks up her first 2 points up against Hina. A crowd was really into this, which, kind of looking at this on paper, it's like you had those first 2 really good matches. You thought maybe the crowd would have came down a little, but May's doing a really good job building herself up. And right from the get-go, the crowd was, I know it's mostly a clap crowd, but they were really going early on for this. So, again, another 50-50 style match. Everything was really back and forth. Not much crazy, too much to write home to. They kept it simple, which was smart. They had the crowd right where they needed to for the whole match. They're not going to get 10, 11, 12 minutes on a match, on a card, this length. So they took it home when they needed to take it home, and she gets the win with their wrist clutch Northern Light suplex. I need to take a drink here. A lot of wrist clutching going on here. You think I'm watching a Jun Akiyama versus Mitsuharu Misawa match. Okay, moving right along, we have another 5-star qualifier. That's Saida and Ruaka go to a time limit draw. Again, it's just, I'm a big fan of Saida. I'm not sure why they had this one go to a time limit draw. It just seems like the more Ruaka is in the ring and she doesn't have tag partners to kind of hide her weaknesses, the more she's exposed. I didn't get this at all. I really didn't. The psychology really didn't make sense. Her selling was a little bit off. I mean, Saida, even towards the end, I don't know if she's getting frustrated or just lost. It lasts like a minute or two. It was like, just end this thing already. It wasn't good, wasn't sloppy. Was kind of sloppy. Again, I'm going to Kevin Smith it. The less things said about this, the better. 2.5 stars. Moving on to match number 5. You want to talk about overachieving. This match certainly did so. Waka versus Fukin Death versus Starlight Kid. Starts off as a glorified handicap match, which gets the crowd right into, like, poor Waka. The crowd is already so far behind her because she has so much sympathy and builds up so much fire, and then builds the sympathy back up because they just want to see her win. And then you have the only pretty much 100% heel group in the whole entire company, where you have the evil clown and the evil tiger just basically just double teaming her for a good portion of the match. but obviously you know it's going to happen. They wind up, Starlight Kid and Fukin Death wind up double-crossing each other. And then Waka winds up firing back on the two of them, which gets perfect. Just the psychology of this match was absolutely perfect. It gets the crowd really even more behind her because now she's able to fight her comeback. And she gets her comeback by Starlight Kid and Death being a little bit greedy on who's going to get the pinfall. She had a couple really good near falls there. Again, especially with those roll-ups. Eventually, Waka winds up rolling up. Fukin Death winds up rolling up Waka. This was a super fun match. The story was really good. The crowd was really into it. It's a simple story to tell. And again, Waka loses this match, but she comes out looking better. She overcome the odds for a good portion of this match and almost got a couple pinfalls on Fukin Death and the next challenger for the Wonder of Stardom Championship, Starlight Kid. I just went 3 and 3/4 stars. This was a really fun match. Match number 6 saw the Donald Del Mundo team of Julia and Maika versus Saki Kashima and Momo Watanabe of Oedo Tai. They did a really good job teasing the Michinoku driver right from the beginning with Maika and the Kishikasai from Saki. I thought that was good. How Maika tries to go for the Michinoku driver right out the gate, gets countered, and then almost gets rolled up, and the crowd bit into both of them. When Maika, she held Saki up just perfect timing where the crowd saw what she was doing but didn't hold her up too long, and then Saki gets out and then almost rolls her up. So the crowd bit into both parts, which I thought was perfect. And this match was just nonstop. I'm not going to go beat by beat, but this match was just absolutely nonstop. The Momo Maika stuff was really, really good. Obviously, you have two heavy hitters. Julia, another one, is just a fantastic striker. And the way she feeds for her strikes as well. And obviously, Momo is one of the best kickers in all of Stardom and the best overall strikers in all of Stardom. So she does a really good job feeding into those. But you also know that Julia, that if she takes 5 or 6 shots, she's going to get 3 or 4 back. Or sometimes 5 or 6, and she sure did here. I thought this was really good. Hopefully, we get a Momo versus Maika match. Again, maybe in the 5-star, maybe if Momo becomes champion, somewhere building towards the Wrestle Queendom match at the end of this year, maybe we'll get a Momo versus Maika match for the red belt. That's a match that I didn't think that I'd want to, think I'd even be in the realm of possibilities of seeing in 2 or 3 months, and it's a possibility that probably could happen. Eventually, Julia winds up pinning Saki with the Ganosuke roll. Mr. Ganosuke from FMW. Basically invented that hold, and it's kind of funny seeing Saki's usually the one that rolls everybody up, and Julia kind of gives her a taste of her own medicine. So I thought this is really good. I had it 3.5 stars. Match number 7 saw the God's Eye team of World of Stardom champion Shuri teaming up with Mirai versus Natsupoi and Himeka. Natsupoi and Mirai start and have really, really solid chemistry. Mirai gets up on poor Natsupoi so good, and she winds up tagging in Shuri. And Shuri kicks poor Natsupoi probably harder than I've seen anybody seen. I mean, she kicked her with this back kick, the snap nair, and she does the spinal tap kick, and almost folds poor Natsupoi over. And if that wasn't enough, they wind up spilling out to the outside, and she does it to her again, like right now, as if you didn't hear it or see it enough. Anybody that was sitting in section, row 1, section C, or whatever section they were sitting in. She wind up getting drilled with another one. So poor Natsupoi. Just feel so bad for her. Natsupoi in this match, you have to step up your striking. Against Mirai and Shuri, and she sure did. She brought it. Himeka's stuff here was really good as well. Himeka and Shuri have really good chemistry together as well. I mean, these two really tore into each other. Eventually, everybody loses control, goes into a wild brawl, and we have the double count out, and then they wind up making this for this winds up becoming a 3-way match for the Artist of Stardom Championship coming up. They basically Suri, Mirai, and Amy Sori, they basically say that they want a title match with the Artist of Stardom champions, Starlight Kid, Momo Watanabe, and Saki Kashima, and also you have Julia, Mai Sakurai, and Himeka coming in that saying they're going to want a shot for the Artist of Stardom Championships, and I believe that was announced too for the pay-per-view in July. Again, I'll be previewing that later. There's just a lot to catch up on. Match number 8, our main event, saw the Queen's Quest team of Lady C, Azumi, Sai Kamatani, and Utami versus the Stars team of Miyu Iwatani. Oh my god. Hana, Kogama, Hazuki, and Miyu Iwatani. It's a long show. in a 8-person tag match. Solid action from both teams. The 4-way whip off the rope spot that they tried to do in the beginning, it's tricky. I've been there before. Your timing has to be spot on, and your body size and body height has to be spot on, or else you're going to ricochet off the ropes, and that's what happened here. I saw them try to do it. I was like, this isn't going to end up well, and it didn't, but God bless them for trying. It's always it's a tough spot, but they made the best of it because the timing on the way that the ropes bounce back when one person hits it at a different time. But they made the best of it. Queen's Quest with these double teams and triple teams moves, it's just fantastic. They do a really, really good job with that. I was a big fan of the spot where Zumi got on top of Lady C's shoulders and it looked like she was going to double stomp, and Hazuki comes off the rope with a springboard drop kick. I thought that was really cool for the cutoff. It was a great spot when Miyu and everybody was on the outside, and Miyu and Hazuki go in the ring to do their double dives, and as they come off the ropes, Saya springboards and double high cross bodies, the two of them, and it was right in the ring. It was perfect timing. It was not right in the ring. Of course, it was in the ring. It was right in the middle of the ring. The timing was perfect. I thought everything was really solid. It really got the crowd, whipped up into a frenzy. So I thought that was really cool. Solid finishing stretch between both these two teams, but eventually it goes to Koguma and Azumi. Koguma winds up getting the back roll on Azumi. 3 3/4 stars, which will set up the cage match. They wind up saying, hey, let's do it again. Let's do high speed in the cage. I alluded to at the beginning of the show. So we're going to see on the 29th of June, the main event of that pay-per-view is going to be the Queen's Quest team of Azumi, Saya Kamatani, and Utami going up against the tag champs FWC and the SWA champion Miyu. So again, as if Miyu can't be crazy enough, we're going to put her in a cage with Saya. That should be fun. Oh, I apologize. That was not the main event. Match number 9 saw the Cosmic Angels team of Tam Nakano, Unagi, and Mina take on the Colors team, for where the loser has to join the winning team's unit. Now, this is the part where I know Rob is listening. He's probably smiling because this is where I would always hand it off to him when it come to the names, because I'm terrible, especially with names of new people coming in. So we had Yuko Sakurai, Haruki Hazumi, and then Saki. That last one was easy, Saki. So I didn't know much about the Colors team. It seemed like Saki was the leader of this team, just based on how they presented her with the dance in the beginning and how they presented her with the entrance. And then they had a really good dance coming in, but not to be outdone, Cosmic Angels put on their best dance ever. Like, this is a dance that if they were main eventing in the Tokyo Dome or at WrestleMania, that they would do. So I thought their dance here was solid. They went all out. It was like, oh no, you're not going to outstage us. Cosmic Angels dominate the first part of the match, as you think that they would. Makes sense. The Colors team had a really good comeback. They had some really good, interesting double team moves. I think they need to clean up their striking a little bit here. Obviously, that's something that they need to work on. I'm sure that they will work on, but I was pretty impressed with the Colors team here. I thought Yuko, I thought her selling was really good. I thought Saki's comeback was really good. I thought Azumi, I thought her stuff looked really good. Again, a little sloppy at times with all stuff that, as they say with the reps, will come in time. Eventually, the finish comes with Tam drilling Hazumi with this brutal spin kick and then a violent shooting and then the violent screwdriver for the pinfall. That is at 3 1/4 stars. Now the Colors team will join Cosmic Angels, making Cosmic Angels the team that has the most members. So maybe we'll see a big 6-on-6 Oedo Tai versus Cosmic Angels match, or when Natsuko Tora comes back, we'll see 7-on-7. That would be something. That would be sight to see. I probably would have flipped 8 and 9. I probably would have had the Stars versus Queen's Quest team go on last, but that's me just being nitpicky. So that will do it for our shows. Kind of getting a little here out of breath, but hey, that's okay. It's more reps. The more I keep doing this, and like I said, I have a lot of podcasting to do. So I'm just going to try to keep getting better and better at this. So again, as we close this episode out, I can't thank everybody enough, for their support. We're keeping this going. Like I said, there's a lot of content that's going to be dropping, and I know my man Sean, again, I can't put him over enough. My editor, he is going to probably egg my house probably in the next day or two, but I told him, I said, once I get rolling here, there's going to be a lot of edit material to do, but he can't be, he's so happy to do it. He's so happy to do it now. I can't talk good enough about him. Sean does have his own podcast, which I talked about last show. It's called The Illest Couple, that he does with his beautiful wife. He does a great job with that. If anybody's having any issues, or you just want to listen to, two people being positive, talk about things that a lot of people don't like to talk about, just search for The Illest Couple. It's on Facebook. You can check it out on wherever you get your podcasts. And if anybody's actually Sean actually does some ring announcing. That's actually where me and Sean met right around 10 years ago, that's right around the time I moved up to the area that I'm living in now, where he lives. He does some ring announcing. So if anybody's looking for a ring announcer or a commentator, let me know, and then I'll get a hold of him, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to close this episode out. If anybody has any questions, comments, you can get a hold of me just at the Stardom Cast on Twitter, or the best way to get a hold of me is get a hold of me on my two main social medias, which is Twitter and Instagram, just at Matt Turner OF. That's the one I respond to the most. So any questions, comments, feedback, positive or otherwise, I appreciate it. That's the best way to get a hold of me. This weekend, this Friday coming up, I will be in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, where I'll be teaming with Andy Hedder, Team Blue and Gold. We will make our WXW debut. If you're going to be at the show, stop by the merchandise booth, say hello. I'll make sure we get you all taken care of. So again, guys, thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for listening. Just remember, hey, we're all in this together, and everybody's different, everybody's special. I can't say enough. Thank you guys so much. I love everybody. Love you guys so much. Appreciate the support.